Hello everyone, and welcome back to the world of Viridia. This is our long-term Minecraft world, where we are basically trying to build a city and attempting to keep it as automated as possible. You'd be familiar at this point with the wheat tower, which is basically done at this point. A couple minor upgrades we could do in the future, but it's up and running right now. And then we have our iron giant, that is our iron farm, and it needs pretty much all of the automation work done, but it is just turning out tons and tons of iron for us, which is what we needed it to do initially, and it's doing that very well, so I'm very pleased with that. We've been gathering some resources both on and off camera to start our first nether build, and tonight is the night. Additionally, we actually need to set up another villager. I know this may come as a surprise to some of you, but we need a mason villager so we can get our hands on some quartz blocks. We're actually going to start with the mason villager. I usually don't start my episodes with villager wrangling, but you know, sometimes it's just so much darn fun. The question is where to put him. Since this tower is basically done, I feel like this is the place to put him. Yeah, we just need a place to put our mason villager for the time being. And the two slots we have available are basically right here and right here. This is going to be a pain in the butt to move because it's full of mud making supplies. But this, on the other hand, is going to be a breeze to move, because I just have to do that. So there we go. That is basically done now. And let's get a villager down here to turn into our new mason. Let's see if I can't land him on the edge there. And he did become a mason, that's good. We can lock him in by buying some bricks from him. We've got to get him up to a master level, and we can sell him some stone. And I needed to grab some stone, so let's see about that. And like I said, we need to grab some stone. I've got some stone for you, buddy. We can buy blocks of quartz and quartz pillars. Now these are actually the ones that we need. I'm basically going to buy as many as we can. Funny enough, I need to use the stone cutter so I can make some chiseled quartz blocks, and the rest of these we're going to smelt to turn them into smooth quartz, and these we're actually going to turn into smooth quartz stairs, and these will work in conjunction with some of our other blocks and just give our nether build a really cool look. And I think that's it, and we can grab some stuff near the nether portal and head on down to the nether. Alright, down to the nether we go, and we'll kind of lay out our plans for the build down there. Why? A zombie. Interesting. Must have found his way through the portal. Anyone else? I really ought to put some fences or something around that. This is the site of our first nether build. It is going to be another transportation hub, and it's actually going to be rather large. 36 by 36, same as our overworld transportation hub. I'm gonna go ahead, I need to expand this to 2 wide, and we're just going to put cobblestone where the second portal will be. Honestly, it looks pretty cool to have like the double thick portal. When you come in, you spawn like right in between both of them. It's interesting. Very different style that I'm going for this one. But the first thing that we really need to do is just kind of do a lot of digging out. We'll check on the furnace right quick. Basically, the goal is to push as much netherrack through here while this is still powered. I really should use hoppers and chests for this. Be a lot smarter. Hang on, okay. You talked me into it. Input output chests. So it's gonna cook as long as this goes, and we'll do this just so we can kind of keep going for a while we work. All right, but now we need to make this room a 36 by 36 space. Okay, I can see it going all the way down to 8. I think that might actually give stuff room to spawn. It allows spawning space for gas, potentially. So let me do a quick wiki dive here and see what the spawning light level is for skeletons and gas in the nether. We'll start with ghasts. Okay, solid block below it, and then free space 5 by 5 block wide and 4 blocks high. Is there a light left, or is it literally just a space requirement? Wow. In any light level. Holy cow. Okay, so yeah, this is definitely kind of a no-go scenario. Let's look at skeletons as well. In Soul Sand Valleys, light levels of 7 and below. Okay, if we can make sure there's no 5 by 5 areas on the ground for them to spawn in, which, you know, like this is plenty of space. So we do need to fix that. But as long as we can do that, we should be good to go, because there's definitely no skeletons spawning with the current light levels. We're going to turn this into slabs, because we're going to need a bunch. And we're going to throw down slabs right in the middle where those light levels of 8 were. And so now there's only 3 spaces in any direction. Oh, this is 5. Okay, technically they could still spawn right here. Okay, so if we do this pattern, we can keep ourselves gas free for the time being. And that'll be perfect, because they can't spawn where there's torches. They can't spawn if there's a half slab in that 5 by 5 space. And this will keep us good to go on both fronts. So now we need to do the same thing in the other direction. Now we get to do this direction and this direction. One thing you have to be careful about when you're digging through netherrack like this, you could always hit a lava source just buried in the netherrack, and we might have to move very fast to get out of the way. One of the best ways to watch out for lava sources is to kind of keep on the lookout for sudden changes in the light levels. And you'll notice when they alter in a big way. And usually that means you uncovered some lava and you need to move pretty quick to get out of the way. Because in the Nether, it flows the same way that water does in the overworld. Fast and 7 blocks from the source. Using some of the natural resources of the Nether to our advantage. And there you go. That's exactly what we're talking about. You gotta be fast. Alright. So... get myself over to here. Again, block that up. If I was smart, I would have picked that up with the bucket that we have that's empty. But you know, sometimes you don't think about those things until it's too late. Alright, now we just gotta hit the other side. Also, the great thing about the warped planks is they're fireproof. So they do make a great gate material for your strider pens. If you're wanting to keep your striders in lava or like really close to lava, which I imagine you would want to. Since the gates can really only be made from wood, crimson and warped, both of the nether woods are non-flammable, so you can use those right next to lava and never have to worry about them catching fire. And we've got just one more to do. And then the corners. This is kind of the advantage and disadvantage of what some have called negative building. Basically where you carve a space out of carve an open space out of an already occupied space. Can take a bit longer, but you get a lot of materials back because of it. So that's great if you are looking for a ton of those materials. Less good if you don't care about those materials at all. Never mind. How's this doing? Okay, so now I have 2 buckets down here. So let's go ahead and go fill those up. Basically, we just want to keep that smelting as long as we possibly can. We have plenty of nether bricks for our build. I didn't calculate exactly how many we were going to need. I usually don't calculate exact numbers. Just go off of like rough estimates. Ow. Lines caught fire. That's problematic. I had a feeling they might eventually catch fire. Wasn't sure how long that would take. Alright, next time we go down, we need to take some twisting vines down with us. We'll create a little bit more fireproof system for getting up and down. There we have it. That is the 4 hallways done, basically. Call them hallways, but I guess they're not really hallways, they're just part of the open space that we're creating. And now, we need to do the corners. Nope. There we have it. One more corner, and then we'll have to do these chunks. There's like 3 chunks in each section, so still quite a bit of digging left to do. Alright, I think I'll save each corner for the very end. We'll go over here and start with these. And I did have a campfire sitting next to a tree for hundreds of in-game days, and I never caught the tree on fire. Did damage the bees though, which if you've been watching since then, thank you for that. My breeding project was a complete failure. Most of the bees ended up coming through this portal, and when we first opened it, and I ended up accidentally hitting one in an attempt to kill the piglin that was in here. At least I think that's why. And so I got stung by all 3, and they all died. And I haven't seen another bee come out of that hive since that incident. So I think it is unfortunately a dead hive now. Thankfully there's one other hive on our island, and it is still active, so I'm going to need to breed up their numbers and snag that with our silk touch before anything unfortunate happens to them too. Yeah, so interestingly enough, the Nether is an excellent place to set up your bee nests and beehives. Because since there is no day-night cycle here, the bees never sleep. They literally just continue working constantly. So their honey production is actually higher here than it would be in the overworld. And like I said, I want to take some twisting vines down with me. So if we have another fire issue, we can put something down that's not going to burn. Alright, looks like we're good here. I may still go ahead and put it down anyway. That's a nice smooth transition into the vines, and that's not going to burn. So, like all the other nether foliage, it is fireproof. It's also compostable. And where the heck were we? Over here. Actually, I'm not too far from done already. We basically just have these four corners, and that's all the space that we're attempting to clear. Two more corners to go, and about 30 minutes left in the stream. We might just get some blocks placed for the structure yet, believe it or not. Okay. The four corners are officially filled in, or dug out, I guess is actually more accurate. And yeah, that's got us good to go here. So now, let's grab some materials, and we're going to start our build with this stuff. Go ahead and put our starting blocks in each of the spots here. We can actually take this the rest of the way. So now, I think we take these all the way up. Probably gonna have to polish some more basalt. I actually have to farm some more up, which is why we needed the soul soil and the blue ice blocks. So we can set up a temporary farm for that and do some of that off camera if need be. We can also just grab some from the delta if we need to. But I would prefer to farm it if at all possible. I think we're gonna do it. Oh, I kind of don't believe that. But I do love that we were able to pull that off. That's fantastic. Okay, so that is the first bit of the basic structure. But let's see about putting these in. Actually, I might not need to do this. Yeah, let me branch off here and do a quick check. So actually, I don't need to do this part. I had planned on it, so this was a plan to deal with zombie pigmen spawning from the portal blocks. But that is something that only happens in the overworld. Does not occur in the Nether. So we don't need these. We'll go ahead and put them in place. I think shroomlights would go very well in those corners, since they're going to be visible. Take these off for a second. And we'll do this. There we go. Do this in both places. Yep, that's good. Let me grab these, and don't worry, we will still use all these that we made, just not right here. Good. Now if I want to go down, I can just do that. So that kind of gives you a basic idea of what the roads are going to do. Basically, this road is going to loop around the portal, and it's going to go in this direction. Basically right in junction with where these are, and that direction, and that direction, and the other direction. Yeah, we're just going to be like slabbing up most of this, and we'll start in the corner. So I want to thank everybody for watching. We got a lot done in this stream, and there's a lot more to come in the next for sure. So be sure to stay tuned. And for now, the loop is stable, so we're gonna let it run. I'll catch you guys in the next cycle.